welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Tyler Ocho Hymanson.
Oh, that's right. We're back talking about a brand new entry in the Ocho franchise. Herbie Goes Bananas this week. We'll get to the whole Ocho thing in a little bit, but in the meantime, at the start of the show, we always want to let everybody know how people can reach out to us and give us a shout out. Eliz.
Yes, please email us at sequelrights@gmail.com with all of your questions, suggestions, and favorite vacation spots in Mexico, whatever you want to say. And then find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And please rate, review us on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars goes a long way. Tell us your story of the Panama Canal, and we might talk about it later on a different Herbie episode.
Yeah. And it's not just us here practicing social distancing, watching Herbie movies. We brought back a very special guest. You may remember him from, I believe, way back in episode 28 from Missing in Action 2. Just for reference, we're on episode 134 now.
Oh, God.
Our resident stunt expert, Thomas Vu, is here with us.
Hi, hello. Good to be back, guys.
Thanks for being here, Thomas.
Really over 100 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
That's amazing. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to be ready to say congratulations to you because I hear you're working on some crazy stuff right now. Some involving Rubik's Cubes and Guinness Book.
Yeah. There's some cooking in the books before the world ended. We'll see. We'll see if we'll be able to actually do it when things start back up. But I'm going for a Guinness World Record, solving a Rubik's Cube while I am on fire.
Yes.
So
yeah,
how did you come up with this idea? That is so crazy.
I've been solving Rubik's Cube for about 7 years, and I was never like super fast, but I was faster than your average bear. And a lot of my friends knew that. So about 6-7 months ago, end of last summer, the Red Bull posted a video of this guy skydiving, and he solves a Rubik's Cube before he opens his parachute. And so everyone started tagging me on it, said, Thomas, you have to do something. I was like, okay, here we go. What am I going to do? So I was like, maybe I can drift a car and solve Rubik's Cube. Nah, that's hard to film. I know. Why don't I do it on fire? So been doing fire stunts for quite a while now, and those are two worlds colliding. And I've been spending the last 6 or so months training to be faster at it, so that way I have a standing chance against the heat.
Man,
God, that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. And, like you said, luckily we're heading into the end times, so it might be easier to find yourself on fire than previously. So.
Well, if I'm not on fire, the world's on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well,
it's like, should I go to the grocery store today? Is Thomas on fire? No, he's fine. All right, cool. All right, good.
Thomas Firewatch. Yeah.
Got a burning desire for some toilet paper.
Oh, well, Thomas, thank you so much for being here. And, this week we're talking Herbie Goes Bananas from 1980. And I think we should just dive right into it and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Peel into it.
Disney goes south of the border as Herbie Goes Bananas.
There he is, in a car!
The Love Bug takes a trip on the Love Boat.
Sorry.
By the powers vested in me as the captain of this ship, I deem this vehicle a menace. I herewith commit it to the sea. A fate well deserved.
But hang on to your chiquitas as Herbie bounces back onto a different kind of track.
Hang on to your
Give
taquitas.
away the murder in the preview.
I know, man.
Hang on to your chiquitas.
that trailer just makes it sound like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's like,
I also, like, as I was watching this, I was like, okay, so the Love Boat was popular, so they just made this movie like take place on some version of the Love Boat, and then they said that in the trailer.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's marketing strategy. You gotta.
Oh yeah, I have no issue with shamelessness.
Well, and it is, I guess, an interesting twist on this car, movie to be like, we're going to put him in a really small and closed space and see what like funny hijinks he can get up into.
Right, Speed 2 cruise control.
Yeah. What if a car was on a boat?
What if the car was on a boat?
No way.
And then James Cameron put that on Titanic.
Yeah, that's true.
Allegedly, I've never seen it. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Another true thing. So yeah, Herbie. Well, okay. So we start the movie. We're in Puerto Vallarta, and it's really filmed there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they tore apart the town probably to film this.
That is certainly a thing you can say about it.
Yeah.
Confirmed in the credits. Yes. And Panama as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I was going to say a lot. This is from the first movie to the second movie, we had a lot of the same people back, and then now from the third movie to the fourth movie, we have like the same director, same composer. It's a lot of the same people coming back, but
Okay.
a new cast of characters.
I was happy the first time, Herbie started driving and going wild. I was like, the theme song's back, so at least like he went back to the source more a little bit this time with that theme song.
Yeah,
I gotta say that I was set up for disappointment for like this movie when the credits start to roll. They're like starring Cloris Leachman and Harvey Korman, and I'm like, oh shit! Like this movie's gonna be funny, and it wasn't. It wasn't.
I know they're
Not
not.
in the way that you were hoping, right? It
Yeah.
was actually hilarious.
Yeah. The cast is not at their best in this movie.
No.
Otherwise, though,
No.
those two leads are amazing people. Actors
Yes.
in general.
Well, it's funny because the villain in the 1969 Love Bug, I forget the actor now.
Tomlinson.
Yes.
David Tomlinson.
Yeah, David Tomlinson reminded me so much of Harvey Korman in Blazing Saddles.
Oh yeah.
Like he's basically like doing that thing. And so when I saw him in this, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like they're going to go back to that type of villain, that type of thing. And instead the villain's like the main sheriff from the Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
He's like, he's the captain of the Love Boat or whatever.
He's the captain of the Love Boat.
And he maybe
We
has
got multiple villains, really.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
But yeah, so in the beginning, these two white guys arrive in Puerto Vallarta.
These
One of
two
them
total
is
bros.
ostensibly the nephew of Dean Jones from the previous films.
I
I
guess.
guess. Okay, so yeah, the point is that they're trying to pick up Herbie, and then Dean Jones, like he left Herbie in Mexico because the car from the previous movie died. Is that what we're supposed to believe?
It didn't make the turn, man. Just didn't make the turn.
So it ended up at some junkyard and
Yeah, he just sold Herbie, I guess, or left it in the care of some random dude and left it to his random nephew.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we-
doesn't make any sense.
It was confusing. Like I kept thinking that like the Giselle was going to show back up somewhere because the mechanic was like, the car didn't make the turn, and then Douglas just said it is here. So I thought like Herbie wanted to stay there because Giselle was also there, but then she never shows up in the movie or anything.
I guess.
I don't know.
It's like
Man.
part of her is now part of the Panama Canal.
Yeah, I guess.
So they immediately get pickpocketed by this little boy, and I was like, there's no way this little boy is in the whole movie. I was
No.
like, he's gonna pickpocket them and it's gonna be so funny, and then that'll be it for this little kid.
This
But
little
he's
boy is the main character.
the main character.
little did you know. What's funny is how different times we live in 2020. I was watching this and I was like, why does this kid have his hands on these guys' butts. Reverse pedophilia. And then I was like, oh, he's stealing their wallets.
Yeah.
Idiot.
It's like, oh, the 80s were just a friendlier time.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they wait like multiple scenes before they reveal that their wallets have been stolen. So you're just like,
They do.
Yeah, you're waiting that whole time. Like, what happened there? Why was he so
No,
excited?
they go through. So they talk after the scene that we first meet him. The two white bros get to talk through some Republican talking points first.
Oh, God.
They're like,
yeah, that was-
oh, well, it's so good he didn't have his hand out. Like that's a rare thing these days.
He's like, it's an endangered species. Like,
Species,
oh,
yeah.
God.
We should probably hunt them, get a license, go to Africa.
Jesus. Yeah, terrible. It was bad. Lots of cliche, horrible south of the border type stuff going on in here.
The most racist movie of a series that has been kind of racist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks,
But-
Walt Disney.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people living in this seaside town here did get paid for being walk-ons and extras and
for sure.
and using their businesses and their sets. So, and I mean, it wasn't really portraying most of them like badly. They were just kind of there. But yeah, it's he's like an orphaned street urchin that's just pickpocketing people.
Yeah.
But he's not, at least he's not like dumb or evil in any way.
Yeah.
He's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
He's Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Herbie's the carpet.
Oh my God.
True.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the B plot is these dudes that are going to pilfer an Incan gold artifact and sell it for cash, and they also get their wallet stolen, and there's a slide in the wallet that they really didn't need at all, but apparently it's very important to the mission.
Yeah, I guess they couldn't let it get out, but it's unclear if one of them is more excited for the Incan artifacts or the gold, because it's like, oh, you know what that means? An undiscovered civilization. Oh, Incan artifacts. And the other guy's like, no, gold. And he's like, yes, gold.
Yeah, and the one guy's name is Mr. Pringle, just like the...
Yeah.
I think it was Prindle, actually, but I was like, Mr. Pringle from the Pringles can is all about that gold.
Once he pops that gold, he just can't stop.
That's right. He's obsessed. Yeah, but their dynamic was weird. I thought the one dude was in charge, and he had just hired these guys to kind of get their information about the Incan gold or whatever. But then they were together the whole movie, they were a crew.
Yeah.
Well, they switch who's
couple.
dominant. Yeah. Helios and I are on the same page here.
Yeah.
Right. So they get the car, they lose the car, they end up on a boat. Right?
Oh, okay. The little boy becomes friends with the car because he ends up he
Trying to run
realizes
away.
that Herbie's sentient, and he goes and hides in the storage compartment, which in a bug is in the front, not in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Trunk is no front.
But unlike where they hid the diamond in the last movie,
Yeah.
where he currently hides where the gas tank was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And luckily, this Herbie does not have very sharp teeth to chomp him like Nightmare Herbie.
Like Nightmare Herbie. Yeah.
I did like in this one that we very quickly dispose of oh, I don't know why this car, he's alive. I don't get it. What's happening? You're driving. No, you're driving. They just are oh, wow, the car's driving itself. Cool. And then they move on,
This car is eating a sandwich. This car is getting in hijinks.
Yeah. I mean, there's, I feel like the previous movies had a whole lot of back and forth with, what's happening here. And we already know because this is the fourth movie. So just dispose of that already.
This car is sketching nudes of Rose while in steerage.
Yeah, it's
for not having seen Titanic, quite a few of the plot points.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they barely even make much deal at all. None of the characters almost make a big deal about the car being alive throughout the entire movie.
No.
which I thought was a little bit weird. But
They also don't make a big deal about making a 12-year-old an F1 racer.
yeah.
And kidnapping him from his country.
Oh God. So Eliz, I know it's a little bit early here, but I was curious about how excited you were. Like the entire time we've been talking about, oh yeah, this is like a family movie series, and but we've been mentioning that there's been no kids in all the movies, and now finally there's a kid who you can do a child star check-in on.
Kitlins.
Hit us with
There
it.
sure is. So Paco is played by Joaquin Garay III, who is the son of, I don't know why he's the third, but yeah, Joaquin Sr. I don't know.
It's just like a straight up power move. It's just like the second will come.
I'm not sure. It's unclear to me if it's his dad or his grandpa. But Joaquin Garay Sr. was the voice of Panchito Pistolas and the Three Caballeros.
Oh shit!
So he has had the whole family has had a relationship with Disney, and so I'm assuming that's how this kid got the role. And he's Southern California native. He's not actually from Mexico, Mexican American. And yeah, so his dad is a pretty famous Disney voice. And so then they picked him for this movie. And now, his daughter, I forget her name. Her name is, Carmina Garay. She is in, The Diary of a Future President on Disney Plus. She's one of the friends, and she was also on Pen 15 and a bunch of other like shows. So she is having a lot of success, and he's still around acting. He did a bunch of movies and shorts around LA, and he's a teacher now.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So yeah, another interesting kind of child star check-in related fact about this movie is that it's produced by Kevin Corcoran, who's better known as an actor in Disney movies. When he was a little boy, he was in Old Yeller, Swiss Family Robinson, and Mickey Mouse Club. He's Moochie. So he grew up and still continued to work for Disney producing films.
Nice.
Climbing up the ranks.
Yeah. But they probably gave him eye drops a couple times, but I thought that Paco was pretty cute and pretty entertaining. I liked seeing Herbie interact with the little kid. I
will say that we have had a lot of sequels where, hey, add a kid is the usually second or third. I appreciate that this took it to the fourth, and we've had to deal with a lot of fairly irritating children. And I think that he's pretty good on the sequel rights scale of, hey, let's add a kid to the movie. Yeah, I think that he's near the top, actually. Pretty believable, pretty charismatic, and pretty fun. It might be because the rest of the cast is just so irritating.
Also, I think we've seen enough. We've seen now 3 movies of like grown men yelling at Herbie like he's a baby or something, like a toddler who can't control himself, or a dog. And like, I mean, I think the kid and Herbie like relationship dynamic makes sense.
Yeah, makes way more sense. I mean, we go from The Love Bug, where Herbie is going to commit suicide and jump off the bridge, to this movie where he's forced to walk the plank off a cruise ship.
The humans finally get their revenge.
Walked him off the plank. Tipped him off the plank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like...
It's the law of the sea.
I actually really love that moment because they play this like... They play this like really sad like taps version
of the theme song.
It
was so great. I wrote that down too. Yeah. I was so excited about that.
I'm only abiding by the laws of the sea.
Yeah, I couldn't remember this guy's name, so I just called him in my notes Captain Gang Rape, because before he even gets involved with Herbie, all he is talking about is about like pirates and seamen raping women on boats.
There's a point in this movie.
Conversation.
There's a point in this movie where I, as a super sophisticated scholar of film that I pride myself to be, that I took a photo of Harvey Korman saying, "Seaman, do your duty."
How could you, Eliz, though, how could you not remember his name after this moment in the movie?
It's Aunt Louise.
And Captain Blythe?
Oh, yeah. I do remember Aunt Louise.
Captain Blythe?
In my mind, his name was already Captain Gang Rape, so...
Captain Blythe is actually a pretty famous literary reference to Mutiny on the Bounty.
Okay.
Which is not funny.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, at this point in the movie, walking the plank murder, have you seen any stunts that you found interesting?
Very early on, in the town, Herbie does like a wheelie.
Oh yeah.
And if you watch it over again, the film footage itself looks kind of funky, like it was sped up or choppy or something. So it leads me to believe that something went awry to where they couldn't do an actual wheelie. Or maybe, I don't know, they actually did it, and then that's the way they salvaged the footage. But the wheelie itself was very, very vertical. And when you see cars do wheelies, like on a monster truck, you'll see them do a wheelie, but they have these casters in the back of them, so they don't like backflip over to the head or like fall onto their head side. And so, with this car, you don't really have that, or you don't see it, and so they hide it really well. And it caught me off guard a little bit when I was watching it. So I was like, I wonder how they did that, or I wonder what they did to do that, because this was filmed back in 1979, and
right,
the technology they had back then isn't quite what we have today.
Well, I think they were doing the wheelie even back in the first movie. It's like his signature move is the wheelie kind
Takeoff,
of.
yeah. But as far as car stunts go, that was one there. There was a lot of like basic stunt car slide sequences, like when the policemen were flying in, and a lot of basic stunt stuff. I was really hoping to see some more like car flips, but we hadn't seen that yet so far in the movie. Does it happen later in the movie? I can't remember.
I don't know if he flips.
I don't think there's any. No. This movie ends when it gets to the part that I was excited to see, which was
You wanted racing.
I wanted racing.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. The whole time I was like, all right, are we going to be on this boat the entire film?
It is a classic Jason Takes Manhattan situation.
It is, again. But yeah, I noticed when Herbie was driving around in the bowels of the boat with Paco and the Italian wiper man, whatever he was. Ever since the second movie, I feel like whenever a crew of like goons runs after Herbie, they're like required to run in like a straight line in unison, like as they're going after him, and it just looks ridiculous. Yeah. Like,
even the sound design, it was like foot soldiers marching.
Yeah. And then at one point, he also plows through a bunch of crates that are containing possibly priceless artifacts.
Right.
So, womp womp.
Yeah. Right. So like, these guys are trying to get gold. There is a character that ostensibly cares about Mexican culture, but she's white.
She's so ugly with those glasses on. Ew.
Oh God, yeah, she's hideous.
Yeah, we get a she's all that moment here.
I would never date her with those glasses on. No way.
With those glasses, yeah.
Whoa, but take the glasses off.
Stunner in my book.
Yeah.
Glasses on for me, please.
Yeah.
I thought that was so stupid. He literally takes them off like, you could be so beautiful.
You could be so pretty on the dance floor. It's just like, no, I need these to see.
Yeah. Seriously.
Melissa.
So yeah, that's what's her name? Melissa.
Yeah.
And Aunt Louise, who is Cloris Leachman. They're basically just like on a cruise so she can go study Latin American culture, but her aunt just really wants to get laid.
Right.
Yeah. With Captain Blank.
Classic Leachman.
Thirsty.
Yes. She really was.
That's her prime directive, yeah.
So,
You know what else I
so
thought really funny is that when they had like the masquerade ball or like the costume
yeah.
party, like who goes on a cruise ship and brings a full-on costume, like a Halloween costume?
I guess if they tell you in advance.
No, it's pre-COVID. You just go into the costume closet and you just
Yeah.
get something that somebody else wore on the past voyage.
Probably.
Could
These
be.
weren't just like basic masks. These were like
No.
full-on cosplay
Yeah.
costumes.
Yeah.
You
She was
guys,
dressed
this
up
was
like
a whole
Bo Peep.
Eyes Wide Shut orgy. If you haven't seen this movie.
Yeah.
This
She had
was
a
like,
full Bo Peep costume from Toy Story. It was
yeah,
hardcore.
she really did.
And Captain Blythe wouldn't shut up about his Lord Nelson replica costume.
Yeah. Codpiece.
He was so obsessed with all the Spanish Armada stuff, yeah.
But by this time, Paco and Herbie have really bonded nicely. I think they're both kind of like orphaned, and they go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say this is this moment where they really get to bond here. We I think for the first time have a moment where Herbie is actually talking.
Yes.
And I have a clip right here just so the audience, in case you
Okay.
haven't watched it, can hear.
What's your name? ¿Qué?
That's about it.
BB-8?
He says some other stuff before
Road runner
that.
over here.
Beep, beep.
Yeah, this is the first time Herbie's tried to audibly communicate with people, which
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah.
And that's when Paco decides to call him Ocho for the rest of the movie.
Ocho.
In fact, I kind of think like, does anyone even once say Herbie in this movie?
I saw this in the IMDb trivia, that you always take with a grain of salt, but the Mexican car shop owner that gives them Herbie does refer to him as Herbie when he's talking about it, but
okay.
they don't seem to really like.
It just goes
Clock
like
that.
over their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these two guys never really have any relationship with Herbie, even though they are his owners.
But they potentially have a relationship of their own.
Hey.
There's this moment during that scene we were
Yes.
talking about with the costume party where I think the other guy's name is DJ, is that right?
DJ and Pete.
He's trying to like give the
DJ
upsell.
and Tanner.
Yeah, he's trying to like upsell Pete to Aunt Louise or whatever, and he's like, you know what? Pete is so great, man. He's what I would call a beautiful person. And then for some reason, instead of just ending it there, the scene continues in this shot of him like awkwardly looking at Pete and then looking like he's about to like clarify that statement he just said, and then just kind of going, never mind. And I was like, why was that in the movie? I mean, it's just an odd moment. It's fine if he thinks he's a beautiful person, but
it just felt like a moment of truth, and they wanted to
Yeah.
keep it in.
There's just so many characters in this movie. I don't know why you needed two kind of nondescript white guys. Like, I
Yeah.
guess one's more of a like.
They were like, hey, let's put the Weekend at Bernie's dudes in here.
Yeah, and I didn't really like DJ, who was the shorter, blonder one. I thought
He sucked.
Yeah, I thought that Pete was a little bit better, maybe just because he was better looking, but I thought he was like kind of charming. But that actor, Stephen W. Burns, actually like passed away at a really young age from AIDS.
Oh,
so
no.
who knows what other movies he could have been in if that had not happened. But
Weekend at Bernie's too.
yeah.
I mean, sorry.
The other guy, DJ, was in American Graffiti and Dolphin
I know.
Tale.
Yeah. Oh no, he directed Dolphin Tale.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, when we do a Dolphin Tale sequel, maybe we can have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's
oh,
right.
sorry. I said you weren't as good looking as the other guy. Whoops.
But I mean, come on, you know what you look like.
Jesus. Well, now
All right. So they
he's-
throw Herbie off the boat to an untimely, watery death. And apparently that car is still in the ocean. They never pulled it out.
Yeah, I saw that on Wikipedia and I was like, is that true? There was no source. There was no source for that note on Wikipedia.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's on one of those like Walt Disney Treasures DVDs.
No, it would have been so expensive to retrieve. Like if they shot them dumping it over, like they dumped a car in the ocean.
Yeah.
Back then it was like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
someday
Like,
James Cameron will find
I thought
it.
of was like, I'm sure they had to have retrieved it, right? Like, make the car float and then just go get it.
Yeah.
But I guess apparently it's still in the ocean.
It was right there.
Nowadays, you would have had to have inflatable packs to retrieve it, but back in the 1980s, off the coast of Mexico, that's Walt Disney, baby.
I did.
No, he's long gone by now.
I did love this Herbie gets murdered moment.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually die, but
It really, I kept thinking something was going to happen and then
Yeah.
he was going to escape, but he for sure doesn't. And
But
the boy's like crying and the
I know.
cabin, he's like,
I like the fact.
Herbie's like spinning his wheels.
yeah.
It does,
He's like
it
making
does
sound like, help me.
Yeah, he's like,
It does raise the question of how Herbie escaped Nazi Germany. So
How long has he been alive?
he's used to execution.
He was only born in 1963 or whatever. So,
I don't believe it. You faked it.
I just
He
love
has ties in Brazil.
I just love that, like we said before, the whole movie, like no one is ever like, holy shit, this car's alive. But they thought that the car was like, something was fucking up with this car enough that they had to throw it off the boat.
Yeah, no, there's one guy who calls the captain and he's like, it's my sandwich.
Yeah, that
Eat my chicken.
yeah, that guy was terrible. I have that soundbite too of him being like,
What's up to chicken? Who taking my chicken?
who taking my chicken? Like, why'd they have
Well,
to
and
make
at
him
this
talk like
point,
that?
Aunt Louise has invested in these two guys, and she's actually like the financial owner of the car at this point. And Captain Blythe is like on his way to the execution, and she tries to stop him on the ladder. And instead of saying like, "That's my property, you can't just throw it off,"
She's like, no, I'll bone you.
she's instead of saying like, this is illegal, you can't do this, that's my property, she instead tries to like reveal some sexy collarbone action and says like, I appeal to you as a woman, and like pulls her shirt to the side in a not sexy way at all, and he does not go for it.
Yeah, it was pretty poor seductive moves.
I just felt bad for her the whole movie because he never goes for it.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And she's just there making like a
Yeah,
fool of
both.
herself the entire movie.
Yeah,
Not
I
a good
think
one.
that like if they really wanted to get her money, DJ should have just hooked up with her. Forget the niece. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go straight to the source.
She just didn't like DJ wearing his mechanic outfit at the costume
I guess
or
so.
whatever.
I guess
costume
so, yeah.
ball.
That was a good Cloris Leachman thing where like they thought they were doing this whole hustle and Cloris Leachman's like, yeah, like, no, I actually wanted to sponsor you. I knew you guys were running a hustle. Like, I hope that my daughter might actually like you, but
Yeah.
like, and the guy's like, you saw through this? And she's like, I'm old. Like, what are you like? You guys are dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, they all get kicked off the boat in Panama for the Herbie incident.
Panama.
And the kid just escapes from the authorities, and so now he's just running wild in a foreign country. And
For
Herbie,
most of the movie.
Puerto
miraculously-
Vallarta's short round is what
Yes.
his
Herbie miraculously shows up at the locks. Is that what you call them?
no, the Panama Canal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's there, and he somehow
He
got
survived
there.
the ocean,
Which was
floating up on the shore of this embankment.
Yeah, he makes it all the way there, but then is like about to die when he like sees the shore.
He's like,
I gotta say, this helicopter footage of the Panama Canal made me underwhelmed. Like, I guess I had never actually seen footage of it. And it looked kind of bullshit. Like, I was like, oh, one of the greatest engineering feats of all time. And it's like,
Back in the 80s.
yeah.
yeah, now it probably looks totally badass. You have no
Yeah, it
idea.
looks dumb.
Just wait until Michael Bay films there and it'll look
Yeah.
dope as fuck.
Anyway, so yeah, Herbie goes through the Panama Canal and then almost dies. And then gets attacked by stereotypes.
Yeah, some random men help Paco pull Herbie out of the water. And
one of which is definitely a white guy.
Yeah.
Yes, the meanest one was the white guy, which I was like, all right, whatever.
At least they did that.
They think that Herbie's like dead, and Paco like makes an entire like grave site for him. He lines the whole thing with rocks. He makes a little cross out of sticks, and then he says like "Vaya con Dios" and like cries and like walks away from him.
And then
like
Patrick Swayze goes and like paddles out to the ocean.
Yeah. But anyways, Herbie starts coming back to life, and then those men immediately try to steal him from Paco.
Which didn't make any sense to me, because they were all making fun of Herbie, saying it's a piece of junk.
Yeah, but one of them's like, yeah, but a piece of junk could be worth money. Or something like that.
I think he literally says, yeah, go ahead.
Jokes are also worth money or something. He's calling Herbie a joke. Like, jokes are still valuable.
This'll be great for my stand-up routine.
Yeah.
It's comedy gold, yeah. But anyway, Paco escapes. And then he immediately defaces Herbie's famous logo with red paint to write taxi.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how this kid's immediately like, yeah, I'm going to be a taxi driver in Panama now. That's my
He's got a car, and that's where he is.
I mean, he seems at home there. This is the moment I wanted to see what you guys thought of. We get a musical first for the Herbie series.
Oh,
where
my God.
Frank Duvall has written 2 songs for this movie, and one of them I had. The first song I was like, I don't even remember where that song was in the movie. I had to go back. Yeah, I had to go back and look at it. But this one at this moment is very featured. It's called "I Found a New Friend" by Frank Duvall, and it has one of my favorite little moments in the song here. It's like a bunch of kids singing. It's really cute, and this is the line I love the most.
And I bet you a banana, manana, you'll have a new friend.
Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, you skipped the part where they go F-R-E-N-D, friend.
Well, I can't play the whole thing. We'll probably have it at the end of the episode.
I like how this song uses Spanish sparsely.
Hey, but they're able to work in the word banana, which I was like, at this point in the movie, I'm like, all right, we're halfway through the movie. There's fucking nobody's gone bananas. I don't see any bananas. Not that I was expecting there to be literal bananas.
I mean, by the end of the movie, this movie should be called Herbie Gets Bananas.
Yeah.
But yes, I do bet you a banana that you get a new friend.
That song was brilliant.
It was cute.
Herbie rides like the Pied Piper through the village, and all the children come out and follow Herbie and Paco through the valley in a beautiful, like, I don't know, parade.
Yeah, it had a really classic Disney sound to it, like, children's chorus and everything. It was cute. I liked it.
Yeah, I think by the 4th movie, they're like, you know what? Let's make this super kid friendly. Fuck it. And then he just falls out. We're going to have a song. We're going to have kids dancing. We're going to have them. Yeah.
We're going to have them just riding around Panama like it ain't no thing.
Like, yeah, like the best friends.
A child in the driver's seat.
And this is a Parent Trap movie.
Yeah.
By the way, we didn't mention when Paco was on the boat, they put him in a cage and give him a mattress on the ground. And I was like,
that's right.
Kids in cages.
Well, Captain Blythe later in the movie says, you people.
He does.
Comprende when you want to. Which is just it's a line.
Yikes. Yeah. Not great.
So I don't know what happens then. They find him again somehow. Oh, the evil guy tells him to find the slide. What?
The 3 evil guys magically find the kid every single time.
Yeah. There's a moment where they're kidnapping the kid out of a bar, and the bartender's just like, whatever. Happens all the time here.
Yeah.
It's happening in a public place, and no one's trying to stop these dudes carrying this kid out the door.
Well, yeah, no, like the kid punches them, and then she's like, "We're from social services," and he's like, "No, they're not," and they're like, "We'll handle it." And the guy's like, "Fine, whatever."
Oh, that's not even the one. Justin's talking about when they take him away from the bar, and the bartender's like,
"Oh, right,
happens
yeah,
all
okay.
the time."
Yeah. They cut to the bartender,
yeah.
and he just looks over like, meh, another kid out the door, whatever. Paid to look the other way.
So everybody ends up back with Herbie. Oh no, there's a bus that they just like.
Oh yeah, they come up and a white lady is like, "Hey, I have $300," and the bus driver's like, "Everybody out, get on the next bus." The white lady's buying the bus.
Yeah, the thing that I have in my notes right after the Banana Manana song is
Banana Manana.
I have.
Can we change the podcast name to Banana Manana?
Banana Manana.
It's good for SEO.
Yeah, totally. I have let's say Shanghai a million times.
Oh yes, they were Shanghaied. You were Shanghaied. They got Shanghaied.
I'm being Shanghaied. Captain
Someone
Blythe
explained
screams.
that to me. I was really confused at that moment.
Yeah, I don't even know what it means either. I know it's bad, but
It like has.
So it's something from Westerns that I know. It means when you've basically been liquored up and then sent off somewhere that you weren't intending to go. So it's like basically like I got drunk and I woke up in slavery. That's fun. That's fun history to try.
Yeah.
Disney.
How exciting.
And then she buys a bus for like $350.
And it takes them not even a quarter of the way they need to go.
$50 in 1980 dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough for this man to abandon his whole life. But so they buy this bus. In the meantime, there's this weird B story of Cloris Leachman and Harvey Korman being drawn into a bullfight while they're driving the bus. It's like these things are happening concurrently, but time must work differently in Panama. Like I'm not quite sure how this works, but there is definitely some stunt work in this bullfighting sequence.
Bullfighting.
Yeah,
I remember.
they're in the stadium and they're doing like Toro and all this crap.
Oh, the bullfight.
Yeah.
I think this is like the centerpiece moment of the movie.
Oh, did you think he said bow fighting?
Yeah, I was like,
Oh.
what?
When were the bows?
When were there's bows? No, on the cruise ship they were doing tie bow.
Terrible.
7 a.m. class.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is the part of the movie where I fell asleep.
We never fall asleep watching movies.
Honesty is appreciated.
That also might be the reason why I'm confused. Like, I don't remember bows or bulls because I didn't see it.
I mean, it wasn't really a lot of stunts. It was like a car turned over in a bullfighting arena with some stock footage, and then
A lot of it was just the hood popping up and down with the red flag on it.
In fact, there's a moment. There's a moment where like the bullfighting cape or whatever it's called is like over the windshield of Herbie, so that you can like clearly not see whatever driver is in the front seat driving the car.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like a lot of these scenes I was watching, and that I was awake for. It's either done by stunts or done by the effects team. So, when it's not like a specific driving sequence, the effects department will take over and they'll essentially puppeteer, half of a car or just a portion of the car that they can maneuver in a way for camera. And then, so when it's like in this scene, the windshield's covered by a cape or by bananas or what have you, it most likely, is puppeteered by effects or something to that effect. And then when it comes to like a wider scene where a car is actually driving, then they'll probably have a specialized vehicle that was doctored up so that the driver can see.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the driving sequences where you don't see a driver in the driver's seat, he's probably in the front trunk or or laying down behind the driver's seat or something
Yeah.
in a way that he can still see and still drive safely.
Which is one of the things there was a featurette on this season of Westworld for all the futuristic cars. Like there's a little hidey hole of where they're driving them. If you want a good example of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Technology nowadays, they have, they'll set up an entire driving, like cockpit on top of a car. So you'll have the car itself, and then sitting on top of the car, there's a unit that, there's another driver sitting on top that has their own steering wheel, their own set of pedals, so they can control the car completely. And then the actors are able to perform their lines within the vehicle and not worry about driving. And that way you'll still get like dynamic driving action with your actors, but then with the precision of stunt drivers.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like there was some, I'm sure it's really difficult to drive kind of in those like tight circles it was doing, and trying to give Herbie like the life and motions of a matador in that moment. I'm sure that's not like an easy thing to do, but it was not immediately visually impressive. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like Fast and the Furious level.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure that's hard to do.
Like that sequence is the thumbnail on Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the main. That's what I'm saying. It's like the main centerpiece of the movie. I think they even mention it in the trailer, and they show it. It's one of the main scenes in the trailer. So I'm just saying I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, and they broke the plot of the movie where both things were happening at the same time. And she's like, "Here's two characters that were like B characters, and now they're A characters because they're trapped inside this car."
Yeah. And again, I don't know if the audience at the bullfighting ring, arena, like thought that a kid was driving the car the whole time or what, but they're totally impressed by the whole thing. And Herbie wins the bullfight apparently, and they're all super excited about it.
They clap for like 10 minutes and then surround them all and then keep clapping and then like...
Which, guys, I don't know if you know, but a bullfight usually ends when the matador kills the bull.
Yeah, not in a Disney movie it doesn't. The bull just is tired and goes home. And Captain Blythe has a mental breakdown while receiving adulation from the crowd. Yeah.
Sounds like I need to go back and watch this scene.
So they all end up back.
No, you
all
don't.
5 adults end up back with Herbie. And
moments later, like this is literally a 10-minute sequence of the movie.
This was
because the bad guys have kidnapped Paco, and so all the adult characters are back with Herbie, and they don't really question where he's going. They just accept that Herbie's driving them somewhere, possibly to save the little boy.
Right.
At some point, somebody says he's not Lassie, and then they all just buy onto the idea that he's Lassie.
Yeah, when he's like,
"It's a car, woman, not Lassie."
I'm like, I have that. I was like, this moment when they all get back together, like, is the, I can believe a talking car. I can believe a car that drives on its own. But can I believe that all 6 of those people were fit in that one car? No! Too many people in that car. I was like, they got all 6 of those people in there? Like, it looks so uncomfortable. I didn't buy it. It
was like, well, in the 1969 Love Bug, it's like they had 3 people in the race car, which, races are not about weight and people in the car at all.
Yeah.
But like, let's up that ante. Let's put 6 people in this bug.
I also I also need to reflect on the most disappointing moment in the movie for me personally. There's a moment, and it's all my fault. There's nothing in the movie, in the the context of the movie, the text of the film, that would make me think that this was going to happen. I was hoping against hope that this was about to happen in this moment. There's a part where Paco gets taken by Mr. Pringle, or whatever his fucking name is, and they kidnap him, and they're in a plane. And we're getting a little bit of a Fast and Furious, like Herbie's chasing the plane, and he's gonna catch up, and they're like, "Oh my god, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna bite the plane or whatever?" And in this moment, I had the hope that as the plane took off, Herbie would also fly after it.
Yes, yeah. Or
And I was
take a jump.
I was so sad when he just was like, never mind. I'll turn around and go find someone else.
This car swam across the Atlantic Ocean.
I know. Like, that would have been the moment. That would have, if he had flown in that moment, I think I would have given this movie a better score.
What?
That would have redeemed it for you?
Oh, yeah. If it went into that sort of insanity, yes, I would.
However,
what if Herbie had Vin Diesel's voice and was like, "That's my family," and then launched
Herbie.
into the air.
Yes. Okay.
I'd Herbie.
I would take that too. I would take that.
well, when the movie was called Herbie Goes Bananas, did anybody guess that Herbie would literally be completely covered in bananas at some point?
No.
So
I thought that the stunt driving would be the most insane yet, and it was the tamest by far.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I thought
think it
like he
maybe
was
better
gonna
than
go
some-
crazy, but he didn't really.
No,
Yeah.
like all the other movies had at least like some crazy second unit stuff that was cut in. Like this movie did not have.
I would say he went more bananas in the last film trying to get laid than he does in this movie dealing with a
Yes,
kid.
that's true.
Thomas, were you going to say something about the bananas?
yeah, you know how with every movie the title of the movie comes into play in the movie somewhere, right? Like,
Sure.
oh, that's why it's called that. So the
Watch
reveal-
Justin and I in any screening when we can go back to movie theaters ever. When they say the name of the movie, we just lean over and look at each other.
And with this one, it wasn't like somebody's lines that said it. It was the reveal was them driving down the road, and he's following these like banana trucks.
It makes no sense.
And then the banana trucks like pull away, and then you just see Herbie completely covered in bananas.
He's like, they're ostensibly doing it to try to like disguise the fact that, or like hide him in some way, but like,
Yeah, because they're looking for him in a plane. So from above, it just looks like a third banana truck or something.
I guess it just looks like a beetle covered in bananas to me. I don't know. It's an odd shape.
But I do like that the bananas keep going, that there's an entire extended banana fight sequence later on. Because rarely in live action media do you see
Do you
people
have Mario Kart tactics?
Yeah.
actually slipping on bananas.
It's like, what's the one thing people know about bananas? Oh, they're slippery? Sure.
Thomas, have you ever had to do any slippery banana work?
Slippery work, yes. Bananas, no.
Okay.
Waiting for that one. But what I find funny about that banana fight scene was that these guys are also trying to carry this impossibly heavy medallion.
Yeah.
And it's like supposedly so heavy that it requires 3 people to carry it. But then all of a sudden, one dude's carrying it on his back while slipping. And then the other 2 are like tripping over him. And they're still managed to bring it over to the plane.
Yeah. I did kind of, I was a little bit tired of the movie at this point, but I did kind of enjoy the whole final sequence with Herbie chasing the plane and the plane getting like increasingly more broken apart and smaller and smaller and smaller as the
Yeah,
scene
to
went
me,
on.
I thought this sequence was a lot more impressive than the bull riding one.
Oh,
like
yeah.
when Herbie kept biting the plane.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the plane was its own character.
Yeah.
In a way.
The way they made it fall apart in like multiple different ways.
Which
throughout the
would
scene.
make Herbie a murderer if this plane was also... according to Disney logic, this plane is also alive.
That's true.
Planes, fire, and rescue.
Planes
Might be,
from
yeah.
from the world of Cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also find it funny that like the pilot continued to try and take off despite the plane being damaged. Like, you fool, if you took off right now, you are definitely gonna die.
We still have the wings.
I don't care what this cargo is. We're not going anywhere right now. I'm
At some
sorry.
point, the plane's already taken apart, and the evil guy's like, "Take off already!" And the pilot's like, "No, look at the fuel pressure. I can't do it." It's like, at that point, what do you have to lose? Like,
Don't have any wings left. Yeah. I thought that was so funny.
I did like that Herbie's rustiness left like a bunch of bite marks on the plane too.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't have his teeth this time to chop the plain wing.
I have a note here that I don't know at what point this happened during the movie, but I think it was a Harvey Korman line of, "You're talking about ba ba, this is toot toot."
I don't remember that.
And I have no idea what that's in reference to.
I think that was when he was on the phone with the authorities and he was saying like, "I need." He was saying something about sheep or something, and
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, he was saying, "I need to get back to my ship," and he was like, "Sheep? No, not sheep, ship." I think that's what was happening.
Yeah, yep, you got it.
When he was on the phone, that whole horrible thing. I also forgot to mention that apparently Herbie knows the location of all like sorts of Inca landmarks. He just shows up there.
I'm telling you, he has ties in Brazil, and he works his way up.
He just knows where to go at that one moment.
Yeah.
Argentina, not Brazil.
Oh yeah, they were on their way to Brazil in the movie. I think.
Boys from Brazil?
I don't know.
So, I mean, that's pretty much the end of the movie, right?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, they fight and the.
Well, they put the little boy in a little race car outfit.
Oh yeah.
And they say, "You're gonna race in Brazil."
Well, it's because at this point,
better relationship with the car than I do. So let's put him in the car.
I'm pretty much worthless at this point in this movie, so I'm just gonna step aside.
I mean, clearly everyone knows the car drives itself anyway, so it doesn't matter who's in the driver's seat.
That's right.
Even though he could still get in a horrible wreck, I assume.
Right.
And I mean, I think at this point of the movie, and immediately after Paco gives him the name Ocho, like we all know why it's Ocho, right? Because 5 plus 3 equals 8.
Duh.
But yet the big ha 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 at the end of the movie is DJ being like, "Hey kid, why do you call him Ocho? Can't you see it's 53?" And the kid's like, 5 plus 3 is 8. Duh. And everyone's like, ah! And then they like fade into the credits. I'm like, that's your final joke?
It's like
when this movie cut to credits, I was angry.
Well, it's like the minute that he first calls him Ocho, the first thought in your mind is like, why is he calling him Ocho? And then you're like, look at it for 2 seconds and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So no one, I hope there wasn't anyone waiting the entire movie.
Speaking friends.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Nobody spoke Spanish enough back then to know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Ocho must mean beetle.
ESPN 8 the Ocho, featuring Herbie car racing and bullfighting.
No, that's just ESPN vanilla right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also get an extended scene of Cloris Leachman with the jukebox trying to seduce this captain one last time and just dancing like a complete maniac.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the extras at the bar are like making fun of her in the scene.
That was a sad moment. I mean, she's just doing that.
That was a sad
Well,
moment.
she's doing it, and she thinks that
going hard.
Captain Blythe is talking to her, and he's just looking at another fucking boat. And that's like the end of the movie. He loves boats instead of
Well, that's the thing is, like, I knew that that was the joke, that he's
Yeah.
that's right fire.
Yeah.
So the whole time I'm like, all right, what is he looking at? What is he is it the jukebox? What is he?
Anyone would love to have her rolling underneath him or something gross like that.
Sick.
Yeah.
There's no reason for her to want this guy. Like, he's disgusting.
Yeah.
He owns a boat, I guess.
It doesn't seem like he's very commanding either as like a captain or anything. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was wearing that wicker whatever as a
He's
hat.
like a
at some
complete
point.
psychopath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed a bit bipolar too. Like, at times he was super nice, and then other times he was like overly crazy.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's a great rating system of how many bipolar captains would you give Herbie Goes Bananas.
Captain Blythe?
Blythe?
It's on the way.
Sorry. Go for it.
I was gonna say you're probably gonna think I'm bananas, but I'm gonna give this one actually a 6 because I know you guys maybe didn't like it as much as the last two, but I liked it more than the last two because I just thought that the character of Paco and like Herbie's personality were a lot better in this one than the last one.
And him just being a little bitch.
Yeah, we talked about how like Herbie was just kind of like a little stinker for no reason in the last two movies. And in this movie, he's actually helping someone again, and he has a nice relationship with someone. And I thought the kid was cute. I thought the song was freaking hilarious. That was by far my favorite scene in the movie, the Pied Piper situation. And yeah, I don't know. I know why it's bad, but I still would rather probably watch this compared to Monte Carlo and Rides Again.
Interesting. Well, I think the character Melissa has some words for anyone who may be interested in checking out this movie. She has some advice for you.
I'm sure you'd find a cold six-pack much more exciting.
Well, that's just a given.
I mean, yeah.
I have that note down too. God bless you.
That being said, Melissa, I think I'm going to give this the same as the last movie, a 4, because again, it was like not quite fully reaching what I think is the potential for a Herbie film. But also, yeah, like Ela said, there's some nice moments. Like the relationship between Paco and Ocho are really good in this movie. He's super cute, and I feel like there is some genuine like love and friendship between them, and that was kind of a fun dynamic that we haven't seen throughout the movies. There's no one really like talking down to Herbie in this movie much at all. I don't feel. At least not in any emotionally damaging type of way. They do throw him off off a boat.
That's just one crazy guy.
Yeah, but that guy's nuts.
Execute him.
Yeah, it's not a good character that's being mean to him for no reason.
Exactly. It's not his his best friend being mean. Exactly. I think again we could do without some of the uncomfortable moments of the time that are throughout this series, but it seems like that's something that we've had to deal with in every movie. But yeah, I feel like this is a good family film. It's decent. It's mostly harmless. I don't know. I give it four bipolar captains out of 10.
I think I too am going to give it 4 bipolar captains. I think that it's fairly innocuous. And they thought that they could rely on the star power of Cloris Leachman and Harvey Korman, and they obviously carved out a whole 15-minute sequence of the movie to highlight them and to make that chemistry, or to give these two comedic actors that I love, that I think are funny in pretty much everything, and bored me to tears and put Thomas to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I think that just,
and that was like the one job you guys gave me, was to watch the movie so we can talk about it.
That's all you have to do.
No. What I'm saying to you is that that's not your fault.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you were right. I when I was watching the credits, I got very excited, and that raised my expectations of this movie, because these are two people that I was excited to see this movie. I was like, I could totally see how they work in this, and it's pretty lame. And yeah, that's so 4 bipolar captains.
Thomas, what about you? I'm
gonna go give it a nice score. I mean, other than everything you guys have talked about, I think story-wise, watching it is obviously not gonna be your cup of tea, but I'm gonna give this a 7. 7 bipolar captains, because any movies from this era was in a different time of filmmaking, where things were much more challenging to pull off, and they were able to do some pretty magical stuff with the car, puppeteering, special effects, stunts, and they were all practical. And so if you have an appreciation for how to make a film or the tricks of the trade, then this movie is right up there, because you watch a sequence and you're like, man, they pulled it off practically. And it's a beautiful thing to try and analyze.
Can you do most of the things that Herbie did in this movie?
As a driver?
Yeah.
Yes. At least I think I can. No, I'm pretty sure I can. They didn't really push the boundaries of stunt driving in this particular film. There are definitely a lot of stunt driving things I can't do, but for this one, they kind of, like we mentioned earlier, it wasn't as action heavy for the car as some of the other
films. Like I think that's the other thing too, is that like the 1969 one, like the stunt driving is unbelievable. Like it is, and the puppetry and like the stuff that they're doing is,
and a plane.
Oh yes,
they're driving a plane around.
That's true. The plane does add added complexity for this one, but it just seemed lesser than from the previous entries that were definitely older. Like the 69 one is, I'm shocked people didn't die. Maybe they did.
Yeah, still the most impressive, even though we've gone into the future. So
well, I mean, I think they clearly didn't invest as much money into the later ones, and also as our guest Alex said last week, the company Disney was having a hard time in this era as well, creatively. So Thomas, what's like your favorite stunt driving gig that you've done?
There was one. Well, pretty much every stunt driving gig I do is a lot of fun, simply because you show up, you sit in a car, and you just drive all day, and it's so much fun to slide cars around. Not one that I particularly got paid for, but one that I did was the bottle cap challenge. And for those of you who may not know, the bottle cap challenge is where you try and kick the bottle cap off the top of a bottle by spinning it open by kicking it. And so it took the internet by craze, and everybody was doing their like roundhouse kicks or their spinning hook kicks to try and kick the bottle off. And people got creative with it, like jumping, blindfolded, backflips. And so I took my drift car out and I opened it with my car.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
We need to link to that because I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the link so you can watch it.
Do it.
So where can people follow you to keep up with the Rubik's Cube record and whatever else you've got going on?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of my social media on my Instagram, which is at SeeVuPlay, see.vu.play. SeeVuPlay.
Well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of our episode about how Herbie Goes Bananas in 1980. And we'll be coming at you next week with another Herbie episode. We're not quite to Lindsay Lohan yet. We got one more stop before we get there. And
I believe they made 6 of these.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this time we're going all the way to 1997 for actually a TV movie called The Love Bug. And I don't want to spoil it here, but you're going to want to tune in next week, I think, because there are some crazy people involved in this movie, and I just don't want to give it away. You can look it up, obviously. But...
Ronald Reagan?
No way! He voices the Love Bug?
Stay tuned for that. And also, while you're at it, you can email us at sequelrights@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And dig into the archive. There's a lot of stuff that's streaming now. There's a lot of movies that we've gone through. A lot of people have been watching the Home Alone movies, which I've seen that we did a whole series on. And if you're going through and you leave a review of something that you've been binging or something that you've listened to, we'd really appreciate it. And, the archive's there. Even if you don't listen to us, go through our episodes to see what you should binge next. There's a comprehensive list at this point.
Well, Thomas, thanks for being here, man. It's been awesome to have your perspective on this episode.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Sweet. We'll see everyone next week for The Love Bug 1997.
Our friend, it takes one to be one. Take some time till the light starts shining on a friendship. A friend, step up if you need one. Stick amigo. It's nice if you got one, but it's nicer if you're not one to stop looking for more. The world is full of people who need you so much. A million hearts there to touch. And I bet you a banana, manana, you'll have a new friend. And I bet you a banana, manana, you'll have a new friend. A friend, it's nice when you see one, but it's better when you be one.